Well, hello everyone at the Be Awesome Network. I'm Lori, and this is going to be a fun time. I'm just promising you that right now. We have Wayne Wallace with us, and yes, say hello. And I love this topic because it's all about capturing moments, photography, videography, and art. Photography and videography is an art, right, Wayne?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, let's get going. I would love if you would just reintroduce yourself to the Be Awesome Network. Let them know where you're coming from. I think there's a hint in your picture and what you're excited about lately.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Lori. And hello, all you Be Awesome Network people. My name is Wayne Wallace. I reside in Las Vegas, Nevada, as you can see behind me. Fabulous Las Vegas. That is my picture that I took, and I used three different techniques when I took that picture. I used slow shutter, I used a zoom effect, and then I waved my camera around in the air to get all those squiggly lines. So it's a one of a kind photo. I'm the only guy that has it.
Got to unmute myself. I love it because that is just so creative, and photography can range from, so many ways of taking pictures. And I'm sure through your journey you've kind of developed skills along the way, and now you're launching a new thing. So do you want to talk just a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, let me kind of back up a little bit and kind of give a little history, right? So I started over 2 decades ago with film. This is my original film camera. It's a Canon AE1, and it's like a paperweight now. Um, so I started a long time ago with film, and then something happened in my industry. These things came out, cell phones. So now everyone's a photographer and a videographer. So I went back to school and I got my master's degree in documentary film editing. And we'll talk more about that.
I love it. I love it. Well, and that camera reminds me of when I was a kid. My mom got this really, nice camera, and it was a camera just like that. She had a zoom lens to, put on it, and I actually took photography in college, and it was so fun to go back and do the well, actually, when I was in college, digital cameras. I'm
Right?
I'm with you on that. Well, let's talk just a little bit about, why you love photography so much. When did this start?
Yeah, well, it all started in high school. And really, it was kind of like at first, it wasn't a passion, it was a hall pass.
Okay.
Because if you had a camera, you could go anywhere and you didn't need a hall pass. So I grabbed my camera and I said, "Oh, I'm in photo class." And I'm wandering around the hallways of high school taking pictures. But then when I got in the dark room and I saw my first image come to life in the developer tray, I fell in love with it.
Yeah, it's definitely a process. And now you're switching over. I'm sure you go back and forth, but now you're doing some digital photography, thus the picture behind you. And
Yes.
wow, it's interesting. I've always wondered how that works with digital versus, film photography, because I was thinking, you can move your camera like you did. I didn't realize there were shutter speeds and things like that in digital photography.
Yeah, and actually, with these new digital phones we have, everything's done for you. Like back in the old days, you had to decide what type of film do I want to use? Do I want to use daylight film? Do I want to use tungsten indoor film? Do I want to use black and white film, color film, slide film? Like there were so many choices just which film to buy. Never mind all the controls on the top of the camera. And it's the same with digital. All those controls are in there, but they're kind of hidden a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love it. I love it. And you have been doing this for how long now?
hate to age myself, but over 2 decades.
Well, that means you're good at it and you love to do it. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. So on a regular basis, I still do portrait photography. So I go out and I do business headshots for executives. I do branding sessions. In fact, the other day I just did a branding portrait session for an entrepreneur, created a bunch of great photos for him that he can use on his social media. So I still actively do photography, but of course digital. And like I said, I during COVID, nobody was hiring me because everybody was hiding at home. So I went back to school online and I got my master's degree in documentary film editing. And then, being a business guy that I am, I came up with this grand idea for helping business owners create documentary style videos for their marketing. So, would you like me to get into that a little bit?
Absolutely. Yes, please.
Okay, great. So the professor that I had, he's over in London, and my school was in London, but I attended online, so it wasn't a problem. And what he did was he followed around a photographer for 2 years, creating footage of Anthony the photographer. And Anthony would go to these places at the break of dawn to photograph things like the Eiffel Tower and London, Big Ben, and all these iconic cityscapes, Venice. They went all over the place. And what my professor did was he captured what we call B-roll footage of Anthony doing what he does, taking pictures, teaching workshops, going to the printer to print out his photos for a big exhibition. So I have tons and tons of footage or B-roll footage of Anthony doing his thing, which could be a dog walker, it could be a chiropractor, it could be anyone, any type of business. He just happened to use a photographer as an example. And then what he did was he also did interviews with Anthony along the way.
Yeah.
So when they were at the Eiffel Tower, they did interviews. When they were in Venice, they did interviews. So on the spot, on location interviews about what are we doing here today? And anyone could do that. So then he would give us this footage and he'd say, okay, make me a 5 minute, documentary video about this particular scene, or make me a 2 minute documentary video about this particular scene. So I've sent you a link to a 1.5 minute documentary video about Anthony at the Eiffel Tower in Paris. So if we could play that, that'll give people a good idea of what I'm talking about.
Oh my goodness. I forgot I was muted. I was gonna really Okay, I said awesome. Let's do it. I'm gonna put us in a movie theater because I think this will be fun.
Oh, that's a perfect setting for this.
Exactly. And then I'll play the video. So here we
Oh,
are.
look at us sitting in the movie.
Yeah, yeah. We just need our popcorn, right?
Yes. This is great. I love this.
Okay, so here we go. Let's get to it. I'm going to do the full screen.
Nice.
It's one of the most stunning views of any city you'll ever see, and that's what makes Paris so special. Most of the photographs taken by the general populace is full of tourists. One of the benefits of going out at dawn is there's nobody out and you can take these stunning pictures in great light without loads of people in it. In places like this, they're just set up so beautifully. You have such a small window, I mean, not just the light. You want the best shots, you gotta do before the bus loads of tourists get here. I mean, the color coming in is just crazy now. It's gonna get really good. We gotta go quick. We're at the Trocadero, getting the classic Paris view. This whole area was planned for people to take pictures right from this spot. There's even an X on the ground there, in tape, shoot from here. You can't come to Paris and not take this shot. I wanted to get a bit higher. Okay, we gotta move. Oh, baby. This is really excellent. Picture perfect. We got all our shots this morning, and just in time. Get here before the tourists and the pocket cameras. That's what it's all about.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's talk about this. So,
Yeah. So that was a minute and a half edited documentary about Anthony taking pictures at the, crack of dawn at the Eiffel Tower before the tourists get there. Like, that's the message, right? You got to get there before the tourists. Well, in actuality, I had 2 hours of footage of Anthony taking pictures and doing interviews at the Eiffel Tower with no people. He was not in a rush. And then at the very end, when they were doing the interview, the tourists started coming. And he made a comment, which you heard. It was, you got to get here before the tourists. So the idea for me to create this narrative of the rush before the tourist came from that one comment he made. And then I took little pieces of audio from the interviews, and I took B-roll footage that matched up with what he was saying. And I created this little mini movie, basically, about Anthony rushing before the tourists came to get his shots in. And that anticipation and the rushing all comes from the editing style and the cutting speed and the music. And there's lots of little subtle things in there that the average viewer wouldn't really notice that I did. I played certain music. When you saw the birds flying the first time, they were flying from left to right as he was going downstairs. And then when you saw the birds flying again, it was from right to left as he was going up the stairs. And then the pace of the editing changed from slow to fast. So all these little things really help tell the story. And your average person with their cell phone, they just take it out and they talk to it and they say, "Hi guys, I'm over here doing this." And then they post it because they don't know how to create storytelling videos like I do. So what I'm doing is I'm launching a whole new thing, and I call it impactreels.show. And what I want to help business owners, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, people with a cause do is create documentary style videos for their business. Yeah. And I'm doing this for free, but the catch is that you have to shoot the video with your phone. So I have a Facebook group where I mentor and I coach people on how to do that. And then after we create their video, I'm going to host them, much like you're doing with me. I'm going to host them on my show, and we're going to debut their video live for the world to see. And then the end result is they get a great video for their business, and then I get some great YouTube content.
Love it. Love it. I was going to ask, now, how do you take someone who doesn't know how to film, and how do you take their footage and make it better? But you're actually going to coach them on how to do it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And I'll give away the biggest tip right here. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. So everybody listen up. So a professional photographer holds his camera like this, horizontally, or landscape mode, right? Well, the phone manufacturers have designed the phones to be held like this because we talk on it like a phone, right? But that doesn't mean you should shoot your video like that. You should take your phone and hold it horizontally. And then notice I'm a photographer, so I have a lens cap, right? I slide down my lens cap and I reveal my lens, and then I can capture my video or my photo. So the big tip is take your phone from vertical and hold it horizontal. And then either you or your spouse or your business partner, whoever, your kid, can capture you doing your thing. So if you walk dogs, then you get footage of you walking the dogs and playing with the dogs and bathing the dogs and feeding the dogs. And then I do an interview with you over Zoom, or you could do your own interview with your own camera. And then I edit that all together to tell a nice little story.
I love that. I love that. And I also love your phone case. I've
Oh,
never
thank
seen
you.
that. I guess
Well, you
that,
know, these phones are expensive, so you got to protect the lens.
well, I was just going to say, I guess that protects the lens, which I've never done. Because there's probably all kinds of scratches on.
Scratches, yeah.
Well, I love that way, and it's very what is it, ingenuous or ingenious or
Ingenious, yes.
ingenious. Thank you. And I love a good documentary, and I think it's the reason why is because it tells a story, and
Exactly.
people love stories, and I think that's why everyone loves to tune in to the Be Awesome Network, because we're telling your story right now, and every interview I've done is a story, and it's so interesting to get to know each other that way. And what an amazing way to get to know someone who owns a business and kind of get behind the heart of it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you're all about the heart here, right? So I have a little analogy that I like to share with people. So, of course, I started with film back in the day, and then digital cameras came out. And then, like I said, these things came out. And as a professional photographer, when I got my first iPhone 1, I resisted. And I said, I will never take a photo with my phone and post it on MySpace, right? Because that was popular back then, MySpace. But it occurred to me that being resistant to that change is like a person being on vacation in Thailand and they hear the tsunami siren going off and they stand on the beach and put their hands up and they say, no, tsunami, don't come here. I'm on vacation. That tsunami's not going to listen to you. It's going to come and it's going to crash into you. So that was like me standing there saying, I'm not going to take pictures with a cell phone. Right? So what
Right.
I did was I said, well, I have a real problem as a photographer because everyone's got one of these. Well, what's the solution for that? The solution for that is turn everyone into my videographer, and then I can become their editor. And I can create great content for them.
I love it. I love it.
Problem
Well,
solved.
in this world where we connect online, it's perfect. It's absolutely,
Exactly.
yeah. Well, Wayne, how, if people want to reach out and learn more about you, connect with you about creating their own documentary, how can they do that?
Well, I have a bunch of websites. I have way too many to list, but the main one is waynewallace.com. You can see it right there at the bottom of my screen. And that points to all my other brands and websites and portfolios and stuff like that. My company name is Ace Digital Productions, but that's way too long to remember. So just go to waynewallace.com and you can find me there.
Perfect. I love it. Well, I mean, it's so fun learning all about what you do. And I'm so happy that we got to know you a little bit better here in the Be Awesome Network. Is there anything else you want to add that we haven't talked about?
My biggest tip is turn your phone horizontal. It annoys me. It's like my little pet peeve. I'll go to these conferences and I'll see, or on the street, wherever, and I'll see people taking pictures with their phone like this. And I'm behind them so I can see what they're doing. They're trying to zoom in to make whatever it is they're taking a picture of bigger. And they just don't realize if they turn it horizontal, then they're going to have a much better quality picture.
Okay, good tip. Also, I was wondering about that, the zoom factor, because I do that a lot, when I'm, somewhere and I want to take a picture, but I want to zoom in, and it actually decreases the quality of the picture, doesn't it?
Well, if you zoom in too much, but if you notice the next time you open up your camera app, there's little numbers at the bottom. One says 1, 0.5, and 2. So that's a 0.5 makes it a wider view, and then the 1 makes it a normal view, and then the 2 makes it like really close up. So just use those numbers because those are presets And it's like changing your lens on your real camera.
Okay. Good thoughts there. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Well, Wayne, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll be sure to drop the link to your website in the comments so people can connect with you and take a look at all of that you have to offer. And I really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing, because we have a lot of business owners here in the group, and it is hard to sometimes figure out how to promote yourself. So this is going to be a great tool for everyone watching.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Lori. I appreciate you and your Be Awesome network.
Well, we appreciate you. And if you're watching right now and you want to connect with Wayne, please do so by clicking either on his name, he's tagged in this post, or by going to his website, and he'd be happy to connect with you. And I'm looking forward to seeing some results of what your work produces, Wayne. And also just want to remind you, those of you who are watching right now or watching the replay, that when you come to the Be Awesome Network, you will always hear that you are awesome, and you really are. We all have gifts and talents in different ways that we express ourselves. Wayne is obviously an artist with the lens, and some of you are sound healers, some of you are Reiki healers, some of you are life coaches, grief coaches, mental health, experts, those kind of things. So we appreciate everyone here at the Be Awesome Network. And when you start to doubt yourself and you're thinking, maybe I'm not going the right direction, or maybe I'm not really good at this, I want you to remember that you really are awesome. And when you start to believe that in your heart, you start to think differently, act differently, show up in this world differently. And then you get to share your gifts with other people, and we all become awesome together. So thank you so much, Wayne, for joining us today.
Thank you. I love that message.
Well, I do too. And I have to remind myself too that I'm awesome as well.
You are awesome, Lori.
Thank you. All right. Well, thanks guys for watching, and we will see you next time.